Welcome back to my channel, Mama. In today's video, we are talking all about money. Money. Can I shout that out? We're talking all about money, and I know that this video is definitely gonna ruffle some feathers, and I am just like, but I know that it's a conversation that needs to be had. So if you are ready for this bumpy ride, then get comfy, get cozy, and let's chat. We're talking about money in today's video. And there is a piece of me that is definitely uneasy and anxious and overwhelmed because I know that money is taboo, and money conversations by women even more so. It's just true, right? But I also know how important and valuable it is to talk about money, to talk about our experiences with money so that it can help someone else. And if there is one thing that I would attribute my success to, it's my money mindset. And now that's not to say my money mindset was amazing when I first started my business. It was not where it is today. But I've never held like the standard beliefs and ideas and opinions of money to begin with. And so they have definitely evolved over time, and I've done a lot of work to get to the point where I am today. But I know that where I started was enough and is the reason that I am where I am today. And because I was willing to have those conversations, and because I was willing to grow. And so that's why we're talking about money today. I think it's really important. I think it's not talked about enough. I think that we are just, as women, and then like more specifically moms in business, we are up against a lot, right? Like building a business, I forget what the statistics are, but it's very grim, right? We're like, how many businesses make it past their first year and then make it past their fifth year and then make it to six figures? And when you look at the statistics and you place women owned in front of that, the statistics are less and less, right, than men. And maybe if we talked about money more, and maybe if we talked about where we struggle with money, where we're limited when it comes to money, then we wouldn't feel alone. And then we would feel like we're all trying to improve, so let's improve together. I don't know. But I know that I wanted to make this video as a mama in business, a homeschooling mama in business who has built 2 six-figure businesses at this point. I have some things I want to share, and I want to share 4 tips, let's call them, right? 4 tips, 4 ideas, 4 principles, whatever you want to call it, that have really helped me propel myself forward. So I think that if you could start implementing the ideas and the thoughts and the principles that I'm going to share with you in today's video, the sooner, the better. For you, for your business, for your family, for the generational wealth you're wanting to create, for the lifestyle that you envision, like just all around, for your health, for everything, right? If you can start, and I'm only gonna share 4, and there are many, right? But this would be an hour-long video, and I don't have the bandwidth for an hour-long video right now. So I'm gonna share these 4 because these 4 were crucial in getting me to where I am today. First things first, stop telling yourself that you can't afford something, and instead ask yourself, how can I afford this? What needs to happen so that we can afford this, so that I can afford this? Once you tell yourself that you can't afford it, you've just shut down your brain from figuring out, right? From using its creativity, from figuring out how you can actually bring this to fruition, okay? And so in one, you've shut down your brain from figuring out how to make money. And in the other, you've activated it. And you've said, hey, we need to have this. I need to have this. What's the plan? What do I need to figure out? What are the moving pieces? And how can I start creating that today, right now? This happened to me personally when I was trying to figure out how we could get to Hawaii. I had never been to Hawaii. This was like a couple years ago. Me and my husband would talk every year and say, we want to go to Hawaii. It's our dream to go to Hawaii. How can we make that happen? Like just for a trip, not to move there. here. But it was always like, we can't afford that. We can't afford it this year. Let's try next year. We can't afford that. We can't afford that. We can't afford that. Like, that was the message, right? It had been wired into us that Hawaii was way too expensive and we couldn't. And finally one year I was like, I'm done. Like, we need to figure this out. We keep saying we want to go, but we're not going. It's something that we really want. Why are we not figuring this out? We are going to Hawaii next year, and I'm going to ask myself what needs to happen in order to make that trip happen. And that's exactly what I did. I told him that in December, and by February of the next year, 2 months later, I had booked our hotel, and in March we had booked our airfare. 2 months difference because I shifted that question. Instead of saying we can't afford it, I said, what do we need to afford it, right? Like, what do we need to do? What can I do? How can I make this happen? And I see this happen so often in my industry, right? Where I talk to a prospective client and they're like, I need this. I need what you have to offer, right? Talking about my coaching or my programs, my membership. And then when we get to the investment costs, they're like, oh, okay, I can't afford this. And I want to encourage you, just like I want to encourage them, instead of saying, I can't afford this, say, how can I make this happen? This is something that I want. This is something that I see the value of. And if you are a mom in business, who I'm talking to, right? If you are telling your brain that you cannot figure out how to make money for an investment that you actually want to be a part of, you're telling your brain that you don't know how to figure out how to make money. And isn't that the goal of your business, right? If you can't figure out how to make money for this investment that you truly desire, how are you going to make money in your business beyond that, right? Like, if you are not stretching yourself, if you are not stretching the limits, and if you are constantly playing within those parameters of this is what I can afford, how are you ever going to get to a level beyond that? Think about that. But we tell ourselves that we can't afford things. Why do we do that? I don't know. I think we just have these like horrible connotations, women especially, because we've been told that we're not good with money, that we spend money too much, that we're the caretakers, so we need to be taking care of our family, right? We cannot be frivolously spending money, right? And so I think that the way that we think about money in general finds its way into our business and the way we think about money within our business. So I want to encourage you to stop telling your brain that you cannot afford something and instead activate the part of your brain that is willing to figure it out, that is willing to stretch yourself, that is willing to take action to get what she wants. One way, you are just closing the door to money. You are literally saying, brain, we can't afford this. There's no way that we can afford this. There's no way. You're literally saying we cannot do this no matter what. Nope, there's no way we can afford this. The other way, you're saying, hey, I really want this, and I know that I have what it takes to figure out how I can have it. Such a big difference, such a minor shift. So stop telling yourself that you can't afford something, that you don't have the money for it, and instead ask, what does it take? What will it take? Like, I did this. When I signed up for my first group coaching program, it was my first coaching investment. I started my business in January, and in February, I signed up for a coaching program. It was $6K for 6 months. I had only made $1,000 in my business. I had $1,000 in my business account, and I said, I really want this. I have the money for the first payment, so it was $6K, $1K each month. I have the money for that first month. I know that I'm not going to be in the same place next month as I am today. I know that I can make that money. What would I have to do to make $1,000 next month? This is okay. Let's do it. And so I signed up. I had $1,094 in my account for my business. I invested $1,000 of it right there. The next month, I made $1,500 because I said, what will it take for me to make this money? And then I went out and I did it, and I made more than that, more than I needed. So now I had 1.5 months of the payment for the coaching program. The next month, I made $2,500. When you ask yourself, what do I have to do to make money? When you give yourself a reason to have to make money, when you expand from this is what we can afford, so this is all I'm ever gonna make, to this is what I want, so this is what I have to make, things change, okay? So stop telling yourself that you can't afford things and instead ask yourself, what do I have to do to actually afford it? The second tip I have for you, and this is especially true if you are just starting out, the money that you make in your business early on is not profit. It is for reinvesting into your business. So the story that I just shared about how I made money and then spent it on my coaching, that's what you're supposed to be doing with money from your business. And a big mistake that a lot of people make is that they make money and they spend it, right? They make money and it's profit. And they're like, well, now we can pay this bill and now we can do this. And I love that, right? I love that you are having money coming in so that you can then take some of the pressure off of your family responsibilities. However, if you want to grow, then you need to reinvest. That's just true of any kind of business. And it's not just like investing in coaching, it's investing in growing your skills, growing your knowledge, outsourcing. It's investing in software. It's investing in your business so that your business can be what you need it to be and not what it is today. If you continue to take the money that you make and just profit, not invest it, your business can't grow. And so a lot of times I'll see this with clients who I've worked with. They make money and then they just, okay, I'm gonna put it over here. I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna pay off debt. I'm going to pay our bills. And they don't leave any money to reinvest into their business. That is something that I did from day one. This is my business money and it's not our personal money yet. When it gets to the place where I can have enough to invest and profit and save and all of that, perfect. But I need to build, I need to grow. And that's something that I did right from the beginning with my coaching business, especially because I had my law firm that was still generating our income. And this was all extra bonus income, but I didn't just say like, hey, let's go on extra vacations. Hey, let's get an addition on the house. Hey, I invested into my business so that it got us to a place where we were able to sell our house and move to Hawaii, the most expensive state in the country, because my business could actually sustain us. Why? Because I poured into it, right? If you want a business that will pour into you, you have to pour into it first. So don't just take the money that you're earning from your business and spend it. Reinvest it, build that business, scale that business, get the support you need, get the strategy you need. Don't just leave it what it is today, grow it so that it can be what it needs to be tomorrow for you, for your family, for your children, for your health. Again, money cannot buy happiness, but like, can it? It can, right? It can make it, like nothing can buy happiness, right? Like, let's just be clear. Money can't buy happiness because nothing can buy happiness. Happiness can't be bought, right? But money can buy things that can help that happiness, right? That can expand that happiness, that can maximize that happiness, right? You can pay your bills. You can go on vacation. You can get someone to come and clean the house. You can get a tutor for your children. Money can help you live a happier life. And again, the sooner we're able to dismantle all of these things that we've been taught to fear money and to not talk about money and money is evil, money changes people, like we need to get rid of all of those things so we can actually call it in, embrace it, and experience it. The third thing that I want to talk about that I think is really important is understanding and seeing that investing in your business is actually investing into your children. We have been taught to separate the two, right? There's business and then there's personal life, and the two don't overlap. And that's not true, especially as moms in business who are in control of our business and who are creating these businesses for generational wealth, for us to have freedoms with our family and to live different lifestyles than we lived, right? They absolutely overlap, they intertwine. And so what I want for you to see is that investing in your business is actually investing into your children. As moms, it's so much easier for us to spend money on our children. If our children came to us and said like, hey, I want to join this program and it's $97 a month. Hey, I want to join this coaching program for, I love soccer, but it's $500 a month, but it's going to teach me how to become a pro soccer player. We would find a way, right? Generally speaking, right? Like maybe just go with me here, right? We are more likely to spend money on our children, whether it's new clothes for them and we're still wearing the same things that we, were wearing in high school. Is that even possible? Probably not. But whether it's into their knowledge and their skills and building up their self-esteem, whatever it is, we are always more likely to invest in them at our expense. Well, there's not enough left for me, right? And we do that with our time, with our energy, with our money, with everything, right? That's why there's such a big industry devoted to self-care for moms and filling your cup. And I think the same thing is true in your business, right? Again, we're taking that money and we're using it as profit and we're not reinvesting it because as the caretaker, right, we have that quality of taking care of everybody else before us. We look at that money as like, well, this is their money. This is the money that they are going to use, right? Whether it's for today or for tomorrow, for the future. And we don't want to use it improperly. We don't want to spend it. We don't want to risk it. And so we're spending it on our children. We're putting it in savings accounts. We're doing, maybe investing it into stocks and things like that, which again, I always find that like so funny because you're investing it into like the stock market or you're putting it into a savings account that has a very small yield for interest. And if you invest it into your business, you are in control of the results. You're in control of the growth of that money. And if you believed in yourself and in your skills and your potential and that you can do a good job calling in money, right? And like taking all of these concepts that I'm talking about figuring out and being intuitive and using your ingenuity to create more of it, you're gonna create more of it than it sitting in the savings account, right? But that's less risky. We think that that's less risky, right? Because we've been told that experts will be managing it, right? You are the expert here, okay? You have what it takes to invest money into your business and grow it and multiply it and put it back into your children's future. So I want for you to see that investing in yourself, investing in your business is in fact investing in your children, and it's not risky. You are in control of the return. And because you are an amazing, ambitious, go-getter mama, you will make back that money and then some. So stop telling yourself that the money you spend on yourself is less for your children. Stop telling yourself that investing in your business is risky because it's not gonna get to your children, right? That's the whole goal, that's the whole purpose. So look at it differently, right? Investing in my business is going to create generational wealth for my children. And if I want that, then I need to pour into my business so it'll pour into me, to my family, to my children, to everyone. And the last one that I think we need to cover, because I want for you to see how a six-figure business owner can make the same mistakes that you make, right? So there's no such thing as a bad investment. There's no such thing as a bad investment. We are always learning, evolving, growing, and even on those failed investments, there are lessons to be made. And what happens is when we make a bad investment, right? When there's an investment that we make and we didn't get a return on it, we tell ourselves that we're not good at investing, right? We tell ourselves we can't make another investment because obviously we have a track record of making poor decisions. It didn't work for us. It's too risky. And so then we don't want to make another investment. And that's just not the truth. There's no such thing as a bad investment. Just like if you put money in the stock market, there are good months and there are bad months, and there are high returns and there are no returns. But like nobody's like, oh, the stock market is horrible and failed investments, and like we keep our money in there. We're like, it'll come back around, and we just got to give it some time and we'll shift some things. And same is true of us, right? There's no such thing as a bad investment. And there are investments that I have made currently, like as a six-figure business owner, that like if I had to like classify it as a bad investment, yeah, it would be a bad investment. I invested in a course at the beginning of this year that cost me $3,500. And it was the worst course, the worst program I've ever seen. And I've seen enough and I've created enough. And this is from a 7-figure business owner who had all of the bells and whistles, who made all of the promises and guarantees. And I really wanted to learn from her. And I think I opened the course twice and then I was like, wow, this is garbage. But there was a lesson learned, right? I learned a lot, but I learned that there are people out there who look like they are further along than me, but they're actually not, right? I learned what I don't want to become. I learned the type of marketer I don't want to exhibit, right? I learned marketing tactics that are just like a no-go for me. I learned what I really want to put into a course or a program so that it actually gets the person the results that they came for. I learned so much from that poor investment. It cost me $3,500, but I got $3,500 worth of lessons out of that investment, for sure. Not the ones that I thought I would get, different ones, but still worth every penny. And that's how you need to look at those failed investments, right? What did you actually get from them? Whatever the amount was, if it was $1,000, come up with $1,000 worth of lessons that you got from that investment. Different than the ones you thought you were gonna get, but you still gained something out of them, right? And so you can't not make any investments because you're nervous that they're gonna be bad ones, because what about all the amazing ones that you are missing out on because you are scared that you're not a person who makes savvy investments? Sometimes we're led to things and we think that it's an amazing investment and it turns out not to be, but it's just that there was a different lesson out of that, right? I was led to this $3,500 course. I thought I was gonna learn one thing. I learned something completely different. And those lessons are still very valuable to me. And I don't think that I am a poor investor. I don't think that I make poor decisions. I don't think that I never want to invest again, because what could happen? I see the lessons from every investment. And so what are you keeping yourself from learning, from experiencing, from gaining, if you're just gonna like stop all investments together? There's no such thing as a bad investment. You will always come away from it bigger and better and more savvy and just wiser if you open up your mind to seeing the growth and the lessons from any investment. Whew, okay. Like I said, some of these things will ruffle feathers, right? I know people don't want to hear that, you should be stretching yourself when it comes to the things that you want, right? That you shouldn't be just saying, I can't afford it. I know that it's hard to hear these things. I know that it makes it feel like, oh, this is like so salesy. It's not, right? I want to expand your brain. I want to expand your mindset when it comes to money. We all have a money story. We all have a money story that was inflicted on us as children. Right? What was the message that you heard about money when you were growing up? What were your parents saying? What was their experience with money? What is your money story? And what do you have to release? What kind of shifts do you have to make so that you're not actually, dispelling money, but you're calling it in, right? How can you loosen your grip on the money that you have so that you can make more? Right? We need to make more. We need to make room for more, right? But sometimes we hold so tightly to what we have that there isn't even space for us to call in more, right? But if we loosen it and we let some of it go, there's room for bigger denominations, right? There's room for more of it because our hands are expanding. We need to start seeing money for what it is. It is a tool that can bring much more to us, right? It's not just a safety net, right? If we keep seeing money as a safety net, then we're never going to see it as a tool it can be to expand our lives, to expand our situations, to improve our situations, to improve our children's situations. We have to trust in ourselves that we have our best interests at heart, that we have our children's best interests at heart, that we're never going to make a decision that leaves our children without, that we have what it takes to solve. Can't afford this right now. What do I need to do to actually afford it? Because I know that this is going to be a game changer, right? Asking ourselves the tough questions that we don't want to ask ourselves because it means we have to do the work. Do the work. If you do the work, you will open yourself up to much more. So again, taboo conversation, but I think that we need to be having more of them. And I think that as moms in business, again, I want to let you in on what's worked for me, right? My money mindset, where I started and how it's grown. I would never have done a YouTube video on money 3 years ago. Like, there's no way. But I did have money mindset that was different from people, you know, who weren't even talking about how can I afford what I want. But I've grown since then. And I'm opening up the conversations to talking about money, to talking about how much things cost, how much I make, how much I want to make, right? We need to be talking more about money. It doesn't have to be this taboo conversation. It doesn't have to be off limits. We should encourage it, because if we want it to be around us, then we need to surround ourselves with others who are willing to talk about it too. So thank you for tuning in to this TED Talk. I hope that it was helpful. I hope that it has, again, just challenged you, expanded your thoughts on what is possible and how you can be making shifts to make your business work for you as a mama in business, so that you're no longer leaving money on the table, but instead calling it in. So if this video was helpful, I would love if you gave the channel a subscribe, follow along. I'll have more videos like this coming because, like I said, I want to keep talking about money. I don't want to close the door on it. I want to open it, let the floodgates come in. So yeah, thanks for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.